Welcome to episode number 34 of the Dugout Report. I am here with Michael Duarte, recapping Game 3 of Mets Phillies and Dodgers Padres, and I'm excited to hear his thoughts on both of the games. So welcome.
Thank you for having me again, Alex. Sorry, it's so crazy here and it's going to be a little quiet. There's lots of people working behind me. We're here at Petco Park, a little less than an hour after the game, obviously. Crazy, wild, weird, wacky game here in Petco Park in San Diego, but happy to join you right now.
Let's start with the Mets Phillies game. Pete Alonso got the scoring going at the bottom of the second. Uh, and Aaron Noda didn't look quite good, even though he had 8 strikeouts, and uh, the Mets offense just piled on uh, the runs and everything. I don't know if you saw any of the game.
Yeah, I was able to watch the game here. I don't know if you can see the TVs behind me here in the press box. I think there's one. If I move my head, you can see it. They had
Oh
that
yeah.
game on here before this game, so we were able to see the whole thing.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I saw it when it was 4-0. I stepped away for a second there in the seventh inning in a blink of an eye. It was 6-0, and um, that's kind of all she wrote for Philadelphia in this game. Obviously, Nick Castellanos and Bryce Harper tried to mount a comeback late, but it was nothing close. And a very similar thing could have happened here at Petco Park tonight if it wasn't for Teoscar Hernandez's grand slam that made it a very tight one-run game after that. But look, a couple of things I want to say about the Mets Phillies. First and foremost, and I know you're a huge Philadelphia Phillies fan, Alex, but we've been talking about this for years, you and I. It's a situation where when the Phillies were the wild card team the last 2 years, they had to fight and scratch and claw to get into the playoffs. And then that momentum from having every game feel that intensity and focus like a playoff game for the remainder of the season, for like the last month or so, rolled over into the playoffs. They got hot and they went all the way to the World Series 2 years ago and all the way to game 7 of the NLCS, actually up 3-2 in that series, going back home, which you would have thought they would have gone to back-to-back World Series if not for that last year in 2023. And what you're seeing now is in this new wild card format that the MLB has created with the postseason, where there's now an extra team and there's a 3 game wild card playoff and there's a week rest for the teams that have the 1 and 2 seeds who have the bye. In this case, the Dodgers and Phillies. It's hard to keep that rhythm that you had, and it's hard to kind of stop the momentum of a snowball rolling
Hmm.
downfield, gaining speed, getting bigger and bigger and bigger until you collide with it, in an avalanche like situation. And so the Dodgers have had to experience that the last 2 playoffs in this new format. First against the Padres in 2022 when they lost, and then against the Diamondbacks last year. Those two teams came in hotter than concrete on your feet in the summertime, and they beat them. And the Dodgers couldn't stop that momentum from growing and building, and now it's happening to the Phillies. The Mets were, I would say, the hottest team over the last month. They had to fight, claw, scratch the oh my God Mets, the grimace Mets to get into the playoffs and past the Braves. And they did it. And it's carrying over in the postseason, as you saw. First in their wild card series against the Brewers, where they made some amazing comebacks, especially in game 3 of that series off one of the best closers in baseball, and Devin Williams of the Brewers and his airbender changeup. And now they're doing it to you guys, to the Phillies in this next round. It's hard to stop the momentum they've built up over the last month. Whereas the Phillies were so far ahead, the intensity and focus wasn't the same. You know what I mean? And now they're trying to
Hmm.
flip a switch and turn it on really late. And it's very difficult and hard to do. And the Dodgers are also experiencing that too. The Padres were the hottest team over the entire second half of the season. They've been extremely hot the last month or so as well. Whereas the Dodgers have been kind of playing 500 ball. They have a lot of injuries. They have a lot of pitchers out. They have Freddie Freeman and Miguel Rojas dealing with injuries, trying to battle through it. And the Padres are just continuing to roll on and play the way they've been playing the last couple months of the season. And it's just too hard to stop that momentum that these teams have built and have going right now. And I think the Phillies are seeing that. And I think both the Dodgers and Phillies are in trouble, Alex, Nola came out and throw. That's their ace, over the past few postseasons. We know Zach Wheeler is probably the ace, but Nola has been this Phillies guy for a decade. He's always been the ace, the guy they go to in the playoffs. And to lose in game 3 to Sean Manaea, a guy that people here in San Diego know very well, but not happy memories. He was very bad here in San Diego. This was a journeyman pitcher who I don't know. No team really wanted. The Padres didn't want him anymore. Most teams didn't want him. He wasn't the Oakland A's Sean Manaea pitching in the playoffs over like 6, 7 years ago. And he came out and he's been a workhorse for the Mets this entire season. He proved it in the wild card round against the Brewers, and he came out and threw 7 innings tonight. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
What are your thoughts on a potential opportunity of Zach Wheeler coming in to pitch in the game later today?
I don't know. It's very interesting. Here in San Diego, they just announced that Dylan Cease, the game 1 starter for the Padres, was going to pitch this elimination game on short rest. You usually don't see that with the team that's winning in the series that has a chance to eliminate the other team. I would have assumed the Padres would have gone bullpen game and save him for game 2. Maybe they're thinking that they can pitch Yu Darvish, uh, you know, have him available potentially on short rest or normal rest in game 5
Mhm.
if that comes to it. Maybe that's why they're doing it. They trust Darvish. But more, it smells like to me, they want to keep their foot on the gas here. They want to finish off the Dodgers and they want to do it with their best pitcher on the mound in game 4, even though it's short rest, and even though he's never pitched in the postseason on short rest before. They want to do it because they smell blood. And if that can
Mhm.
get that crowd going, that it's going to be very interesting and very good. Typically, you normally see the team that's facing elimination in more of a move of desperation or panic go with their guy on short rest. So I would not be surprised facing elimination if that's what the Phillies decide to do um, in game 4. So I'm not entirely sure what it's going to look like for the Phillies in game 4 tomorrow. Um, but it's in elimination games, as you know, it's all hands on deck. And so if Ranger Suarez does indeed start the game and he doesn't have it, I think they're hoping for first half Ranger Suarez or last season's playoffs Ranger Suarez. But if he doesn't have it, I could see Zach Wheeler coming in to try to save the Phillies season. Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on the Dodgers side of things?
Yeah, that's a tough one, Alex. Here at for Dodgers fans that came all the way down the 5 freeway today for this series. Look, this it's unfortunate that injuries are a part of the game. Um, I don't think any team wants to see injuries happen. I think the Dodgers would have looked a lot different in the postseason had Tyler Glasnow been healthy, had Clayton Kershaw been healthy, had Gavin Stone even been healthy, had Brusdar Graterol been healthy in the pen, had Freddie Freeman not been playing with a sprained ankle. This whole playoff series had Miguel Rojas not torn his abductor muscle. To see two teams at full strength, I think this series would have looked a lot different. Um, but it just hasn't. And so now what you have in this situation is the Dodgers facing elimination for the third consecutive postseason. Their backs against the wall. And if history tells us anything, they typically lose these games. And the Phillies potentially in a similar situation, in hostile territory at Citi Field in New York. If you want to hang a silver lining on the Dodgers, it's the fact that in game 1 you were losing twice by multiple runs, and you came back and you fought back. Tonight you went down 6-1 in a very weird and wacky second inning that just saw a lot of soft contact, a lot of ground balls, a lot of normal outs that weren't outs, that extended the inning, that gave the team extra outs that shouldn't have. And then all of a sudden it snowballs, just as we were talking about with the momentum of these hot teams coming in. It snowballs and suddenly you're down 6-1. But they came back. This is not Teoscar Hernandez and Shohei Ohtani, the guys who hit those big home runs. Shohei in game 1, Teoscar in game 3 tonight. They weren't on the teams of the last 2 years. They're hungry. They want to win a World Series. They weren't on the 2020 team that won a World Series, and they weren't on the teams that crashed out of the NLDS the last 2 years. So they've done a great job of helping this team fight and punch back when they go down. and they're doing it again tonight. And I think that's a good sign for the Dodgers. I don't think they're just going to roll over and die in game 4. They're going to fight back. But unfortunately, because of all the injuries I mentioned, you're going to have to go a bullpen game in game 4 with your entire season on the line. And
Mhm.
I don't care what playoff team you have. I don't care if you're the best record in baseball or, if you're the Detroit Tigers, the comeback cats that had to scratch to get back in the playoffs as well. You don't want a bullpen game with your season on the line. You'd rather have your best pitcher on the mound with your season on the line, which is why we'll probably see Zach Wheeler in that game, like you said. But the Dodgers are that's the reality they're faced with because of all the injuries they have. They're gonna have to throw a bullpen game. You're gonna see probably 6, 7, maybe different relievers pitching for the Dodgers in game 4, and they all have to be at their 100% absolute best or their season's over. And so it's a scary prospect if you're the Dodgers, and it's something that I think fans know too well. And the mood in the clubhouse after the game was a really sad, dour one. It was not one of "we got this," and that worries me. The only thing I could say, the last thing I'll say, Alex, is in 2020 they were down 3-1 to the Braves, and they won 3 straight elimination games. Little different scenario. It was a bubble. You were playing every day, but they proved that they can do it. So they're gonna have some of the guys who were on that team. They're gonna have to pull from that and try to get it done because all you have to do is win one baseball game uh, on Wednesday, and then you got a game 5 back home in your own building, and then I think the odds shift back to them because they'd be throwing Yamamoto and Flaherty against you, Darvish, probably in that scenario.
And lastly, got any bold predictions for the 2 games later today? Did you hear me?
No, I couldn't hear you. Say it again.
Oh, my last question is, do you have any bold predictions of the Dodgers and Phillies games later today?
Bold predictions. Well, here's what I'll say. My gut tells me because these teams know each other so well, they're division rivals. The Phillies hate the Mets hate the Phillies, the Dodgers hate the Padres hate the Dodgers. Baseball, I'm sure, would love a game 5 for both these series. My gut tells me we're going to get that wish. My gut tells me somehow the Phillies find a way and the Dodgers find a way, and we're going to see exciting drama, excitement in a game 5 on I think Friday for both teams.
Friday. Yeah.
That's what my gut tells me. That's what baseball wants. That's what I want. I think that's what the fans want. So that's what I'm hoping for. However, through 3 games of these series, and I think you would even admit this, even though you're a Phillies guy and I'm, a
Hmm.
Dodgers guy. Through these first 3 games, I think we've seen or it's been proven that the Mets and the Padres are the better teams right now, or the hotter teams right now, right?
Yeah.
They, all 3 games the Mets were winning or they came back. You know what I mean? And the Phillies had to come back in game 2. And they've just really kind of been dominating all 3 games of fair the Mets. And the same thing with the Padres. The Padres were up 3-0 in game 1. The only game the Dodgers win, they had to come back twice to
Hmm.
steal that game. These other 2 games, the Padres have just been beating them soundly and dominating. And they've been doing it with just well balanced play, good starting pitching, good defense, good bullpen, small ball, and then finding the big hit and the 2-out hit when they needed. And the Dodgers and Phillies haven't been doing that. So would I be surprised because we've seen that the Mets and the Padres are the 2 better teams through the first 3 games and the hotter teams? Would I be surprised if they closed them out at home in the game 4? No, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I really hoping for game 5s for both. And my gut tells me we're going to see 2 game 5s, and that's going to be great for baseball, great for ratings, great for everyone, and that's what I'm rooting for.
I think the Dodgers and Phillies both get the job done uh, in an old-fashioned way, and uh, you know, put baseball put the baseball world on notice.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right, Alex. I think so too.
Yeah.
I hope you're right though. And
Uh,
we'll both be texting each other. We'll be pumped if that happens. So we'll be excited.
yeah.
And that means you and I get to keep doing this. So, and hopefully I'll get to come see you in person and come out to Philly. Um, if we get the dream matchup of the Dodgers Phillies and the NLCS. But there's a lot of work to do before now and then.
Yeah, definitely. Appreciate your time for coming on, and hope for the best.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for having me on, and I will see you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, bye.